What is going on, guys? Jack here, and well, today we are back with another Football Manager video, and I want to talk about a question I get asked very frequently whenever a new Football Manager comes out, and indeed throughout the entire year, and it's a question that we've all thought of at some point in time. It's, who should I manage in Football Manager? I think one of the toughest things with any new Football Manager is sometimes perhaps leaving the save that you've become so attached to behind and starting something new. Anyway, I've launched FM18 here because I'm going to show you guys how sometimes I'll go about getting some inspiration for my save games. The first thing I'd say is that whilst I am very keen on recommending teams for you guys to do, it's important to recognise what you enjoy in Football Manager, which might sound a little bit odd, but for example for me, I'm someone who likes to start a few leagues down often. I like to rely on youth, I like to bring in young players, I like to develop young players as well. So for me, one big draw to football clubs is often if they do have some talented youngsters already established, or if they have some good youth facilities, which mean that good new gens are going to be produced at the club. But obviously that can completely vary. Some people, maybe you're just getting used to the game. Maybe you want to pick a slightly easier team. Maybe you want to find a team who are already going to be battling it out. Maybe you're looking for a shorter term save. Maybe the context of the save is important. So for example, as you'll know, pretty much every year during the 2-week beta Football Manager period, what I do is I do a beta save, and the reason I do a beta save is twofold really. Firstly, it's sometimes a fun chance to manage a bigger team for a shorter period of time, just because generally speaking, as I've already mentioned, I like to do slightly lower league saves. But also during the beta, stuff with Football Manager can often change. The match engine can evolve a little bit. Sometimes the overall balancing of the game changes. Sometimes there's weird little issues which have crept into the game during the 2-week early access beta. And whilst very often, when the game is fully released on its official street release date, those issues are fixed, they can sometimes linger in older save games. So particularly say you're going into the Football Manager 2019 beta now, I would say, consider that. So anyway, in terms of what I do when I start a game, I'll select the leagues I want. Often I'll already have a rough idea of the leagues I want to load and the league I might want to manage in. And then I will create a profile, but I'll do something a little bit unusual here, and that is I will just start unemployed very often, or you can also just hit cancel here. And when you hit cancel, you can then save your game. So we'll just call this game start. And this is particularly good if you're one of these people who often hops in and out of Football Manager saves. Sometimes you'll start a save, continue once and go, not feeling it, right, set up the game again. So what we're doing here is essentially we are creating a save game from the this point here. What you can also do is you can add a manager unemployed to start, and then you can go to the FM tab, and I'm going to assume this will be the same in FM19 because there's no reason it wouldn't be. But you can just add a new manager, and then you can start looking at teams. And of course, the nice thing about this is you might, to and fro between teams. I might decide, Nice, I'd quite like to manage Nice. So you set up the save game, you have a look here, and you have a look at them, and you look at your own profile, and you look at the club profile, and you just decide, actually, I'm not really feeling it. It's not exactly what I'm looking for. And the nice thing is that you can just revert back to your previous save game that you loaded up with all the leagues you had selected, and you've not got to go through the whole creation process, which of course you watched me load through at the start of this video. So yeah, that's kind of one of the ways I like to approach this. So the other thing you can of course do is if I do just create an unemployed manager, one thing I'll sometimes do is I'll just flick through the leagues that I've got loaded for inspiration. I'll just start, say I'm thinking maybe I'll start in the French second tier. I'll start here and I'll just use the quick flicks button up at the top, or indeed just click through the league table and start looking at different teams, start looking at their media predictions. Another screen that can be quite nice to look at if you've got an idea for a league you want to manage in, but you're not so sure, as to go to season preview. And of course, you can then obviously look at teams here. So, for example, Sochaux, a team I managed this year, just gone in Football Manager. You could have a look at them here and go, oh, okay, Nando is their key player. 23 years old, looks pretty good, interesting. Have they got any good young prospects? And the other nice thing, of course, is you can just add a manager to these teams, have a look at the star ratings and stuff if you want a second opinion, and then make a decision from there. Obviously, you're doing it on day one of the save. There's nothing necessarily wrong with this, and it's quite a nice way, I feel like, of picking out a save to start. So yeah, obviously suggestions from the community and your friends and stuff can be nice in terms of saying, hey, maybe check out these teams. But sometimes you want to do something a little bit different, a little bit unique. And I do think this way of approaching things, just kind of creating an unemployed manager, saving it, and then picking a team from here is sometimes a nicer thing to do, particularly if you're loading a lot of leagues and your laptop or your computer takes a long time to set up the game. This can definitely speed things up when you're in the early stages of kind of trying to decide on exactly what you want to do. And of course, with this manager profile, you can just retire retire it here once you've selected your team. You can click the add new manager or do it from the drop down, and same as before, you can just obviously use a profile and pick the team that you want. Anyway, I hope for some of you newer players this is a useful video. It's just a little tip for how I go about starting save games and sometimes getting some inspiration. As I said, I sometimes feel like this is one of the most challenging parts of Football Manager, kind of getting your teeth into a save. And I know, some people sometimes struggle with this, and hopefully some of the advice I've kind of provided here is good for you, of course. Try and identify what you enjoy in Football Manager. For some people, it's about youth development. For some people, it's about just being able to build the world's best team. And, maybe Real Madrid is just the go-to team for you every year. Whatever it is, there is no right or wrong way to play this game as far as I'm concerned, and that's kind of the beauty of Football Manager in a lot of ways. Anyway, slightly different video today. I do hope it was useful, mainly for you newer players, but of course if you're a returning player, hopefully the tip with the unemployed manager is somewhat useful. And yeah, that's going to be all from me, guys. Thank you for watching. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.